What's going on, guys? So 6 months ago, I tore my pec tendon benching. I posted a video on the anxiety of the whole process and just going under for surgery and getting the IV and just everything like that. And now I'm six months post surgery, and I just want to share kind of my experience of the recovery process, since I haven't seen a lot of it online, just on YouTube or anywhere. It's just not documented as much as other surgeries or just things in general. I tore my sternal head bench pressing. I hadn't benched heavy in a while. I hadn't gone for a max, and I do more calisthenics than bodybuilding. And like a year before, I was benching 300 pounds. I got a 300 pound bench like easily, and I had been benching heavy at that time. And then since then, I had only hit 225 on bench for like 3 sets of 12, which if you're hitting that many reps clean, you should be able to bench like 335. So 315 is what I tore my pec tendon on. I shouldn't have torn it, but I hadn't benched heavy since like a year prior, and I had just been doing calisthenics, and I was coming down and I was coming way too high on the chest, and instead of re-racking, because I knew I was high, instead of re-racking, I tried to muscle my way through it, and instead of bringing the bar down with my elbows, I ended up flaring my elbows, which is like the worst possible way I could have done it. Flaring the elbows, so the body's not set up to press. It's not strong in that position. It's really wide, and I got it off. It came down to my chest. I got it off my chest, and like somewhere in between here, my elbows were flaring even more on the way up, and it just tore the tendon. And the weight fell, came across my neck. I didn't have collars on or anything like that, which I never bench with collars, and you should never bench with collars, because if it did, I probably would have had some neck injury or something happened to my neck, because the bar literally hit my neck, but the weight was already falling off the bar. So I didn't even have a sore neck or anything like that, which is amazing. But I don't know why I just did that. But yeah, it was just awesome. I didn't get any neck injury or anything like that. So tore the pec tendon, and I literally went to Korea the weekend after. So I think it was Thursday. I tore my pec tendon on Monday. On Thursday, I flew to Korea. So in that time, I called and got my surgery scheduled, and just went to Korea with a sling. I didn't use the arm. There was a lot of swelling, not in the pec, but just down the arm, bruising. So your pec tendon attaches to the arm here from the sternum. It comes over, and this is the main pec head, the pec major. Am I saying that? Yeah, the main pec head. There's a sternal head, and then the clavicular head. So the sternal head, which is the main part of the pec tendon, pec muscle, connects here in the arm, and it kind of twists, and there's just a bunch of bruising. My pec actually hung down kind of like a boob, and I did my best to try not to move the arm or do anything, because the tendon will start to recede into the body, and if it goes too far, it's harder for the surgeon to kind of grab it and reattach it. I didn't want it to recede too much, so I didn't like try to stretch my arm or see what I could do. I got my MRI done, and I knew that I needed surgery. I went to Korea, came back about 2 weeks. I was in Korea for 2 weeks, just wearing the sling, and it wasn't too bad. I lost a lot of weight in the arm just from not moving it. I could see it. It had like shrunk. I was 220 when I tore it, and when I got back for surgery, I weighed 202. So I lost 20 pounds of mostly muscle. I wasn't working out or doing anything. I was just walking a bunch in Korea, and then went through the surgery. If you have any questions about surgery or anxiety, or if you have this injury and you're kind of worried about it, go check out my last video. It explains everything I went through for the surgery. And then this video, sorry it took so long, but this video is going to be about the 6 months after surgery and your recovery. Right now, you can't see it because I'm wearing a sweatshirt, but I've gained quite a bit of muscle back. Total after surgery, I lost I think it was about 35 pounds because I had surgery and then I started working out a little bit, and then I was just like, I think I should just let my body recover and heal and just rest. So I took about a month off and lost about 10 pounds from there. So I think 10 or 15 pounds. I think I weighed like 186. And then prior to the injury, I was 220. Basically for that first like 4 days, like I couldn't sleep in bed. I had to sleep in a reclining chair like this. So I had like a reclining chair. I would ice as much as I could off and on. And I took the pain meds they gave me, the stronger ones I took for 2 days. And then I don't want to get like hooked on pills or anything like that. So I stopped taking them and just started taking like Advil. But the first 2 days sucked. Any movement, getting up to use the bathroom, do anything just sucked. But yeah, I slept in a reclining chair like this with a pillow. I think they give you like a little sling and a little pad, but I just preferred a pillow. So I'd put a pillow under there and just hold up the arm. And then I would just try to sleep like this. And I am not a back sleeper. I like to sleep on my stomach. So that was really hard for me to adjust to. But I did it and I got some pretty good sleep. I just kind of was in and out of sleep. I couldn't even play video games because I couldn't like use my arm. So I literally just watched shows and then took naps in the same spot and then got up to use the bathroom. And then my ex helped me shower. It's really nice to have someone stay with you for the first like 2 days just to take care of you and help you out. If you don't have that, I think you could still do it. It just would suck, especially showering. Showering with your left hand or your non-dominant hand. Hopefully yours wasn't that arm, but mine was. My dominant hand is my right arm. And just like doing anything with this hand sucked. So I had to learn how to brush my teeth and wipe my ass and do everything else with my left hand. But I don't know, it was kind of good. So if I ever injure this hand, I'm really good with this hand now. So I can brush my teeth really well, like quick, and do so much more with my left hand. Even throwing with my left hand is kind of cool. So I've never been able to do that. And since surgery, I can do it now. But yeah, having someone there to help you is really nice. And yeah, just getting through that first week is like, after that, it's pretty much cake, in my opinion. Until therapy hurt a little bit, but if you do it slow enough, you'll be all right. 2 weeks in, you get a post-op visit and they just check the incision to make sure it's healing correctly. And then they clear you for cardio, basically. I started doing the bike for about 15 minutes every day, and I was doing pushing, pulling, and some curling movements and a little bit of my shoulders, mostly cable machines, and then a little bit of dumbbells in the left arm. Didn't use the right arm at all. I was just sitting in the sling. And every time I got my heart rate up, I would start getting like a throbbing pain. I guess just from the heart rate going up and blood pumping through the area. I started getting pain through the incision area. And I decided to stop working out. Even like sneezing. So like I would have to brace myself for a sneeze. Like every time I went to sneeze, I would grab myself and like brace and tighten my core, because when I sneezed, it just hurt. Any like sudden jerking or movements just hurt the area. And I was like, why am I pushing myself? I might as well just heal up and then get back into the gym when I can start doing physical therapy. And you're not allowed to start physical therapy for about 12 weeks. My pec tendon was also really tight during this time, and I couldn't externally rotate or raise the arm or anything like that. And the skin, the whole area was just real tight and like bunched up. So I just knew I needed to give myself a little bit of a break. For the first 12 weeks, you're not allowed to do physical therapy. You're basically just supposed to heal and let the tendon reattach to the bone and heal. So I started taking collagen because collagen is supposed to help tendons rebuild and heal. I talked to my surgeon and he said it wouldn't hurt to take it, but there's no real actual study that has been conducted on the effects of collagen for the tendon itself and the repair process. So I just took it every day, and I would say it helped. I can't really tell or let you know like, oh, it was better because I took collagen and I would have healed slower. If I didn't, I don't know that for sure. But also maybe the placebo of me thinking it helped as well, because your brain is more powerful than you think. But that first 12 weeks, you're just bored out of your mind because you're not allowed to do PT. And I was not really working out, so I started doing just random things because I had nothing to do and I was so bored. And I usually worked out all the time. And I couldn't really play video games because of how my arm was, and I play kind of competitive. I play Apex, and I'm like a diamond master player, like high-end diamond, low-end master player. And if you know anything about Apex, it's tough. So I needed my hands in a specific spot to be able to game correctly. And I was like this, and it just wasn't working out. So I did some bird watching, I did hiking, I did biking. I tried to do like the little vacations here and there, just going to the beach and stuff like that. And anything to kind of get my mind off of not being able to move, or use my body the way I wanted it to, or the way I wanted to. I almost sneezed there. But yeah, so I just did things to try to keep myself busy, and I hung out with friends a lot. I tried to do a lot of events that are more social. I'm not a very social guy. I'm not like super introverted, but I tried to get out there, hang out with my friends more, schedule more times. Like my one buddy was like, hey, let's get lunch every day this week, or not every day this week. He's like, hey, let's get lunch once a week, every week, to try to just, I guess he was just trying to be there for me, which was awesome. Shout out to you, Josh, you're the man. But yeah, I was just super bored, going to lunch, trying to just get out and do normal people things, I guess, instead of working out, anything other than working out. And I was just healing and resting. Sleeping sucked. I'm a stomach sleeper, and I usually sleep like this, like with a pillow here and like this. But I couldn't raise my arm. So I basically had a pillow here and laid on my left side for the first 12 weeks. And I put a pillow in between this arm to just kind of hold it there. And yeah, just made it work that way. And as the healing went on, I tried to lay on that side, but putting pressure on it kind of sucked at first. So I mostly just slept on my left side. And now my sleep is a little weird. I can sleep on my left side, my right side, or how I used to. So I guess that's kind of cool too. I can sleep a little different as well. And all they had me really do was a passive stretch. So in this 12-week period, I think after the first 6 weeks, so about halfway through, they give you this pulley system. So it attaches to a wall up above you, and it's a rope. And you pull down the one side and it raises the other. So you're not actively trying to raise the arm, but they're trying to get the tendon to stretch out a little bit and trying to get that mobility in the shoulder. So when you're in a sling, your shoulder basically dissipates. Like my shoulder was gone. I had like decently sized shoulders from calisthenics, but they were gone, man. This one it looked like a baby arm, just straight down bone. And you lose all that muscle, and it just messes with the mobility and the openness of the joint itself, the whole shoulder joint. If you've ever had any shoulder injury, you know one little thing can mess it all up. When you first start, it's in front of you because I was literally raising my arm like this, like from here to here, and it hurt. So it took probably a week of that literally to get it to somewhere around here. And this was crazy. Like I was so happy to go from sitting like this to getting my arm a little past 90 degrees. And I know for like the first, almost like before I got into the physical therapy, it was still a struggle to like raise my arm to 90 degrees. It was crazy. So doing that rope on the front, and then once you could get it pretty much to here, you would switch it back behind you, and it would put a greater stretch on the arm, and it would open it up. You want to try to get it to where you're vertical. I still, like right now, I can feel that in my shoulder, and I'm 6 or 7 months out now. And it's just a tightness in the shoulder just from wearing that sling, and it just takes time to get that mobility back. But they had me do that in the first 12 weeks. And I didn't try any pressing movements or anything like that. The pec felt pretty weak, and I was just very much babying it. And I stopped going to the gym because I wanted to give my body like true rest. And my left side, I knew this side was pretty worn out, so I wanted to give this side a break as well. And I stopped working out. I just did cardio, hiking and stuff like that with friends, just to like let my body kind of just chill out. And I lost some weight because I wasn't working out, but it's not a big deal. I've gained most of it back. I'm sitting at about 195 to 200 pounds, and right before surgery I was 200 pounds. So I'm basically the same weight. I'm eating the same calories and I'm gaining muscle. So we're killing it. That's the first 12 weeks. You're just healing, recovering, trying to get that mobility, and then trying to get started into physical therapy. 12 weeks post-op, you're allowed to start physical therapy, and the very first thing they did was measure my active range of motion. I think I was at 90 degrees here, a little past 90 degrees here. I couldn't even get my arm back behind my hip, and my external rotation was basically neutral. So the first thing she wanted me to do was exercises to get that mobility back into the shoulder so I could start doing exercises. I was doing like laying down, doing a broomstick handle press to get my shoulder opened up to rotate this way. I was doing like a slide with a towel up on a wall to try to get the extension here in the shoulder. And then she had me doing side slides on the wall as well, and then bringing the shoulder down this way while laying down and just pulling the hand down and then pressing against it. It's crazy how your mobility just dissipates when you aren't using that shoulder. So first couple of weeks, or first 2 weeks or so, was working the mobility, and then once I got the mobility to a spot where I could start doing exercises, she had me start doing exercises very slowly and controlled. No pressing yet. I was just doing banded stuff and just trying to do normal bicep, tricep, gain some muscle back in size. My biceps were very small at the time. They're still pretty small, not what they used to be, but they're about 15 and a half inches now, and they used to be 18. So prior to physical therapy, I think this arm was at I want to say 13, but that sounds small. So I'm going to say around like 14 inches or 13 and 3/4, which it had lost a lot of size. But she had me doing bicep curls and then kickbacks, tricep kickbacks on a bench, really got that tricep coming back in, and then banded things to get the shoulder growth and coming back in. Once I got past the banded stuff, then she allowed me to start doing some pushing movements. So I literally started at incline push-ups, worked my way through knee push-ups, and I would say my favorite exercise through all this was knee push-ups, and just perfecting them, doing them slow. And then protraction, just working the scapula protraction, activating the scapula and pressing with the pec tendon, doing all of that. And yeah, those exercises were great. My PT was great. She gave me awesome exercises. If you guys have questions about exact exercises for certain things, I recorded them all. You can reach out to me. Yeah, I saved all of them. I know everything that I did, tracked it all down. So if I ever have anything similar to this or know people that had this injury, I can tell them what I did and what helped me get my mobility and strength back. I took a lot of progress videos to try to see the growth that I made, and the growth was exponential. And then 11 weeks in from the start of PT, I tested out of therapy, and you usually test out in about like from 12 to 16 weeks is what she was telling me. But you do the CQ test. It's like kinetic chain something test. I'll put it on the description, or I'll put it in the video. But basically one of the tests is a single arm, and you do hops onto a box as fast as you can, and there's a number of how many you can do or you get done. To pass, you have to hit a certain amount in a certain amount of time. And then there's another test where your hands are together, or your hands are shoulder width apart, and you just tap your hands back and forth in a push-up position. It's just working the tendon in a fast-paced kind of plyometric way to see what you can get. And then testing the stretch underneath the arm was another one. but I passed that in the 11 weeks and didn't have to go back to therapy. I was having slight mobility issues still with just getting my my wall W's. So you put your back up against the wall and you do a W like this. And I wasn't able to keep my arm sliding up against the wall. It's a mobility thing. Some people can't even do it normally, but I wanted to get that mobility back. So I started working that, and then she just told me to start doing medicine ball throws to get the tendon to work in a push and catch motion. So I did medicine ball throws and then single arm medicine ball throws to try to get that tendon to react again. And that was the last time I went to PT. That was my test out. And since then I've done my own progressions of push-ups, pull-ups, everything, and just going slow. I'm getting a lot of my strength back in the first 6 months here. And I'm about to unlock my first pull-up, and I'm at 20 push-ups right now. I post all this stuff on Instagram, but yeah, gained all that strength back. I'm not benching. I don't know if I will bench again. I do dumbbell bench, but I'm not sure about barbell. I'm sure I will one day, but there's no real reason for me to do it, and I'm enjoying push-ups. They're still challenging, and I have a weight vest, so I'm gonna start doing weighted push-ups to try to get that strength and size in the chest. And I still have like some type of chest. It ain't anything crazy, but I got some muscle there and I can feel it and contract it. So just being able to contract and move it is great, and no pain. I mostly just get shoulder pain, and it's probably just a mobility thing, just working and getting that back to where it was. And it pops sometimes, so I just think the tendons in the area kind of roll over each other, and there's just things that need to loosen up, and it'll just come with time. In the last 3 months, the last part of since I started physical therapy, I've gained most of my mobility and my range of motion back, a lot of my strength, and like I said, I'm working on my push-ups and pull-ups. The one thing I will say is in pull-ups, I felt the tendon in my armpit just feel tight, so I wasn't able to hang on the bar right away, and I just kind of started doing just like slight hangs. I would tap my toes or keep a toe on the ground and just work on trying to get that overhead mobility. I think that's the last bit of mobility you need for hanging on the bar, is just getting that shoulder open, and I was having some tightness in the armpit. So what I did was I did banded holds, I did toes on the ground, and just work that mobility to open it up, and then loading the tendon while hanging. You're not technically loading the pec tendon for press, but it is involved and has to stretch when you're hanging on a bar, obviously. So I did that for a while, and I unlocked hanging on the bar without a band. I went from band to no band, and then to banded pull-ups. So I just went very slow and listened to my body and listened to what it could do. And at times it felt tight, and I just stopped. I didn't push. If you go through this injury, some guys are getting back in the gym in 2 months, and then they push themselves and re-injure it and have to have surgery again, or they injure themselves in a different way. And I've had a lot of guys tell me they didn't wait long enough and they re-injure themselves, and it never feels the same again, or they can never lift a certain way. I didn't want that to be me. I hope that's not you. I hope that doesn't happen to you. So listen to your body, listen to your PT and your surgeon, and take your time to heal, because it's not worth re-injuring. So yeah, I'm back at it. I'm about to be doing pull-ups. I did pull-ups with my lightest band, 6 of them to the chest the other day, which is crazy. So I'm gonna unlock pull-up. I got 20 push-ups. I'm getting it back, and it's 6 months after. So it's not like a whole year later. I feel strong and I feel good. And actually after the first 6 months, the last 6 months is where your tendon starts to rethread correctly. So right now my tendon is still not sitting correctly. Your tendon has to heal and reset itself in those last 6 months, and people don't understand that. So I'm still going slow. I'm not pushing myself. I'm working myself, but I'm not pushing myself, and I'm healing. And yeah, so I'm just taking my time healing, letting it heal itself, working it through, tearing it apart a little bit by working out, but not pushing crazy. And yeah, working my mobility still. But yeah, that it felt a little tight in the armpit. Now it doesn't feel tight at all. Doing push-ups or pull-ups, it does quiver sometimes still. So when I do push myself a little hard, my tendon will quiver or my pec muscles will shake, and I think it's just my body kind of just being traumatized. Like, your body does keep score. There's a book about this. Your body remembers, so it knows it was put through some crazy stuff, and it starts to shake and it's like scared. So just keep that in mind, that it is afraid, but your mind is stronger than your body, and you can push yourself, just don't push too hard. So there's a fine line between pushing too hard and pushing enough. Obviously I was pushing too hard when I tore it, but I'm trying to listen to my body, and when it does shake like that, I usually stop and I'm just like, all right, that's good. I'll move on to the next exercise, and I don't try to irritate it anymore. But I've not had any problems of like come from it shaking. I think it's just my body telling me it's scared and that we're good to go. Like, don't push it any further. The last thing I'm going to talk about are my current problems or issues I'm dealing with. My scapula is still a little offset at times when I'm doing either pull-ups, push-ups, or overhead pressing. My right side likes to come up a little bit. So I'm recording myself and I have a friend telling me, hey, your scapula or your shoulder's up or this or that. So I'm really trying to balance my body out, drop my scapula, engage it in a lot of my movements, and just keep it equal. And I'm working on those imbalances that happen because of surgery. And a lot of people were saying when I first started working out that you're going to cause imbalances from doing curls with heavier weight on this arm and lighter weight. That's not true. I literally was doing 25 to 30 pounds on this arm and started with 5, and I'm already back to curling 35s right now. So I'm curling 35 pounds with this arm, and this bicep has caught up to this bicep. So I don't know if you can see, I don't know if it looks what it looks like, but it's caught up, and there are no imbalances in my biceps or my arms really. This side, my triceps a little bigger on this side and the thickness is coming back, but there aren't any crazy imbalances from doing weight on this side or heavier weight with this side. And right now I'm benching a 40 pound in this hand and a 20 pound in this hand on dumbbell bench. And there's not a crazy pec imbalance other than this just being smaller because it needs to grow. So don't listen to people saying, oh, there's going to be a huge imbalance. It's not going to happen like that. And once you can start doing push-ups and pull-ups, that will balance it out. And just try to focus doing it equally instead of pushing to the other side too much. And I was having an issue with that. I was pressing too much. So I'm really trying to focus a good scapula position, pressing from both sides, and having someone watch so that you're doing it correctly and equally. And then like my mobility is still not exactly where I want it, so I'm working on that. And yeah, just scapula and mobility. So once my scapula gets set correctly, like in my pull-ups and hanging on the bar, so like active hanging, my scapula is good, but passively I can raise this arm higher and this one doesn't want to go up as much. So I'm just working on that mobility and stretching it out. But yeah, 6 months. Post recovery, I can do another one in another 6 months, so a year after surgery. I think I'll have like front lever. I don't know what my pushing will be like, and I don't know how I'll gauge that exactly because I'm not really benching, but maybe I will get my dumbbell bench up higher. But right now I'm mostly working slow and controlled in my pressing movements, not pushing it. So we'll see what the next 6 months will be like. But I definitely will have like muscle up, easily 10 pull-ups, front lever, if you know what that is. If you know my channel, I've had it before, but I know I'll have front lever in the next like 2 months if I start training it. Right now I'm just doing a bodybuilding strength training program, and then I'm going to start working calisthenics here soon. But yeah, so I will shoot that video for you guys, and I hope you got something out of this. I know it's kind of all over the place, but this was my 6 months after pec tendon surgery, just that recovery period. And if there's more stuff I can think of, I'll probably just add it at another time. But this was my 6 months of recovery, and I wanted to share that with you to show you that it's not the end of the world. You get your size back, you're gonna start getting that strength and size and muscle back, and you can do things again. It's not the end of the world. I'm gonna be 30 this year, so your healing slows down, but it's not the end of the world. Like, I'm not a young 21-year-old who was like, oh, I blew my pec tendon, I'm healed in the first 6 months. Like, I'm 30 years old or about to be 30 years old, and I've healed in those 6 months. It's good to go. I feel great. I'm getting that strength and size back. So just be patient with yourself. Let your body heal. Don't get depressed. Try to get outside, get in the sun, hang out with some friends, do different things you've never done. Like, I had never done bird watching before, and I went with my one friend. She's like a crazy bird person, but it got me out of the house. It kept me from getting depressed. I didn't get depressed at all. I was excited for physical therapy. I was excited for the growth. Physical therapy was painful, but I enjoy pushing myself. And if you tore your pec tendon, you probably tore it from pushing yourself in the gym. You love the gym, you enjoy it. So if you want to get back to that, heal and then get back into it. If you tore your pec tendon some other way, that sucks, and I'm really sorry. And maybe fitness isn't the best or something you love or want to even do. But if you want your arm back and moving, you got to do your PT, you got to heal, and you got to do some type of working out to kind of get that strength and mobility back. And then you could stop going to the gym, I guess. But I think you should go to the gym in general because it's good for your health and great for longevity and everything like that. But I'm done rambling. I hope you guys got something out of this video and I can help somebody. There's not many people out there talking about this injury. There's not a lot of videos or content. So I wanted to help and share my recovery process and my story. Hopefully you guys got something from this and enjoyed it, or just enjoyed me rambling on here in this chair. But until the next video, hope you guys stay merciless.